Lonnie Coombs, former prosecutor, some on our panel are like, well, case closed, you know, she committed suicide, which would be tragic, but are we jumping the gun here?
Absolutely, Jane. Look, this woman went out and bought Gatorade and trail mix. I don't think that's the kind of thing you worry about if you're about to go commit suicide. And when the police officer said we see some deliberate acts here as far as the car being parked and everything, that might be being done by someone else. Remember, her phone got turned off, somehow stopped working right after she received a text from her mother. Once again, I don't necessarily see that as consistent with someone who's about to commit suicide. And the place that this car and her body ended up is actually a very interesting place where the police say it was actually well thought out. It was a hard place for them to find. There's tree coverage, so the air support couldn't find it. It's down a dead end that's kind of isolated. How in the world did she find this place or know about this place? We just don't know enough information yet to say this is a suicide and not necessarily by the act of someone else.
Dr. Tiffany Davis Henry.
I agree with Lonnie Coombs 110%. We do know that she had a headache for several days leading up to this, so that could be maybe she was hit on the head. Maybe she had some sort of amnestic disorder, some amnesia or something else going on there. We also know with people that are suicidal, they tend to feel hopeless, helpless, don't have much to live for. This is a woman with a 2- and a 6-year-old. Their birthdays were coming up in September. That's something to look forward to. She also had a 10-year anniversary that she was coming up on celebrating with her husband that she was planning. So there's a lot that she had to live for. So suicide is a big jump right now. I wouldn't go there so quickly.
And let me say that. Go ahead.
I don't think anybody's necessarily saying that's a conclusion of suicide. We're just saying it's more likely that what happened was an accident versus suicide.
But he said it wasn't a crash. He said it was not a crash.
Well, an accident can be other things. You can ingest pills and take too many accidentally. You can have those type of episodes that you didn't intend to happen. And based on what law enforcement is saying and based on what they're saying about the crime scene, everything is indicating that there was no nefarious activity, there's no foul play, something accidental
let me jump in here. Pamela on Twitter is saying if she committed suicide, wouldn't she have remained in the vehicle? This is very puzzling. Let me bring in another aspect. From the outside, this family looked like the perfect all-American family, but some reports have turned up some stress that this family had been coping with. A friend told us that at about 2009, with the economy tanking, the husband lost his job, and later the family lost their home. 2 years later, things got pretty bad. They filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, it's been several years since that bankruptcy. Beth Harris, former prosecutor, do you think that could have a bearing on this case?
Perhaps. First of all, we don't know her mental state. There are reports that she was acting erratically before she went out to do those errands. So we also heard them at the beginning of this press conference call it a death investigation. They're not calling it anything but a death investigation. They don't think there's signs of foul play. We didn't hear the condition of the body. She was probably fully clothed. We did hear the car didn't have a crash. And so they don't probably see any signs of foul play. Maybe there's a note in there. Something happened. Either she was acting erratically, her mental state, caused her to do something irrational. Maybe it wasn't a suicide with a sound mind. We just don't know. But it's not criminal, though.